We've just kicked off the second half here at the Goldstand Stadium, where Bournemouth lead Derby by 2-1. Cherries top scorer Callum Wilson renewing the Cherries lead with an unbelievable fizzing strike past Lee Grant after a mistake by the Derby centre-half Jake Buxton. Earlier on, Matt Ritchie, the former Pompey player, had given Bournemouth a 12-minute lead, tied up on the half-hour by Tom Ince. No changes at half-time by either team. Derby had to bring off their top scorer Chris Martin, injured after a quarter of an hour, replaced by Darren Bent. I'll give you the teams in full very shortly. Back to Victoria Road in League Two in a moment with Andy and Guy. 0-0 at the break there. Cherries in red and black shirts, black shorts, red socks, kicking from left to right in this second half towards the north stand. And Derby are all in white this evening. The ball is with Mark Pugh over on the left-hand side for the Cherries. Now Sermon forward, looking for Callum Wilson down the left side of the penalty area. He's in turn looking for his strike partner Kermigan, but it's hooked away by Mascarell and out for a throw. Bournemouth have Borich in goal, Francis, Elphick, Cook and Daniels the back four. Ritchie, Sermon, Arter and Pugh across midfield. Kermigan and Wilson up top. The bench, Camp, Smith, Ward, McDonald, Stanislas, Fraser and Pittman. As Wilson has it once more, left side of the penalty area, trying to take on Keogh. Keogh, the Derby captain's carried it behind, and Bournemouth in the first minute of the second half have won their first corner of this second period. John Williams.
Well, I don't know what he's complaining about, Keogh there. He seemed to think he was fouled or something, but certainly not the case. Francis going out to take it. Four on the edge of the box. No, going to have a change up.
Derby team to follow shortly in case you're interested, but Francis has this Bournemouth corner from the left-hand side. The mass ranks are right in the 6-yard box, in towards the near post, and Grant helps it away.
That stayed out.
Lee Grant has somehow managed to scoop that away from the near post up towards halfway, where Steve Cook and Sermon and Bent rather were having a pulling match, and it's back to Arter Borich.
I think it hit somebody's knee on that near post.
Well, it nearly squeezed in from Francis as the ball over the top for Wilson is too strong, and that's through to Lee Grant in the Derby goal. In front of him from the right, Christie, Keogh, Buxton and Forsyth. The Derby midfield three, Hendrick, Mascarell and Hughes, and up top now Ince, Darren Bent and Jamie Ward. Their bench, Bryson, Dawkins, Lingard, Shotton, Warnock and Roos, the goalkeeper, are the remaining six on Steve McLaren's bench, as Steve Cook wins a good header on the halfway line. Out of play on the far side for a Derby throw. Don't forget, back to Victoria Road in League Two as soon as the teams come out. It's a very firm challenge on the far side from Pugh, and the ball's broken kindly for him. Derby have got a man down. Pugh up inside the Derby half of the field. Jeff Hendrick has pulled him down. That has to be a yellow card, surely, for Hendrick. Mark Pugh in full flow inside the Derby half of the field, Willow.
It's got to be a yellow card, as you say. He can't keep leaving it like he has done. Clattenburg. Well,
he's not going to get a yellow card here. Hendrick, I think he's a bit lucky. Bolton have equalised against Fulham. Idega Johnson, a man reborn. We've got a stoppage in play here because the Derby have a player down. For the first time this season, Willow, my stopwatch failed to start at the start of the second half. So
is that an omen?
I'm now a minute and 10 behind, which is going to be annoying for the rest of the game. Cherries lead 2-1. The 6 times this season that Derby have conceded first. They've only come back to get anything twice out of 6 this season. Bournemouth have scored the first goal in all 15 home games this season, which is an amazing stat, isn't it? To have scored the first goal in every home game.
Absolutely, I didn't realise there was that many.
Every single home game. We've still got a stoppage here. Derby still have a man down. When we restart, Bournemouth will have a free kick halfway inside the Derby half of the field. Pompey listeners just back from walking the dog or whatever you do at half-time, doing some lunges in the living room or something. Either way, back to Dagenham shortly. 0-0 there. Reading 0 leads 0 is a late championship half-time, 8 o'clock kickoff. Francis's free kick then as we restart here. It was Darren Bent, I think, who was, in fact it was Christie who was down injured, and Bournemouth have, from the free kick, under pressure, had to go back to Arter Borich, all in his bottle green, defending the goal to our left.
I'm not so sure, because I don't think he's under pressure there. I think that's just the way they do it.
Now down the left-hand side, the Cherries have given away a free kick, a push by Jan Kermigan on Cyrus Christie over on the right-hand side. Free kick to Derby, who've won their last 3 games on the road and kept clean sheets in each of those last 3 wins. So already that record has taken a bruising at the hands of the Cherries' potent firepower this evening. Matt Ritchie and Callum Wilson, their goal scorers, and Wilson once again has frightened the life out of the Derby's defenders, Jake Buxton and Richard Keogh. We'll be back to Dagenham in just a tick. Pompey just jogging out of the tunnel there at Victoria Road. as the ball's with Will Hughes right of the centre circle. Over on the right-hand side, we'll just see this Derby attack as Cyrus Christie comes forward down the right-hand side, trying to take on Pugh round the outside. Christie held up towards the corner flag. Back it comes to Will Hughes for Derby, onto his left foot, tries to play it in towards Hendrick, goes behind. Derby corner on DAB and 999, Daggett and Pompey, Guy Whittaker and Andy Moon. Here though on our Dorset frequencies of 96.1 FM, Derby corner on the right, Willow.
Yes, I think he just had to make sure there, Tommy, just helped it out, but puts us under pressure. 4 on the edge of the box in white, 2 under the keeper. Tom
Ince to deliver this one, left-footed then. 4 minutes gone in the second half. Cherries leading 2-1 into the near post, and it's come behind off. Well, the referee and the linesman are giving 2 different decisions there. Linesman gave a corner, Mark Clattenburg gave a goal kick, and the referee has the casting vote. It is a goal kick to Bournemouth.
The ball moved there, did you see that? Just as he kicked it.
Well, Mark Clattenburg's going to get that retaken by Boruc as well. That was all a total mess from the decisions, the officials making different decisions, and Boruc with a moving ball.
Yeah, had to pull that one back, really.
So, at the minute, Derby have had to retrieve the ball from well inside their own half, volleyed back by Mascarell to Boruc, and he now will take it. The Cherries, meanwhile, we talk about statistics of coming from behind. They've been pegged back to draw or lose 7 times here after scoring first this season, Bournemouth. So
7 times, interesting.
This season, but the Cherries are top of the table and looking to go 3 points clear of Derby, who are their closest pursuers, separated only by goal difference at the start of play this evening. Cherries, of course, at home to Huddersfield at the weekend. And
the other bonus is you like going this way, don't you? Helps
it's not just me,
immensely, that.
Cherries go this way in the second half every single game. Left to right towards the north stand as we look from our position at the back of what is a packed media press box this evening. I expressed some surprise on Twitter yesterday that only ourselves and the Bournemouth Echo were at the pre-match media call here at Dean Court yesterday to talk to Eddie Howe and the players previous game, although a couple of other media outlets had done holding features, if you like. But the press box tonight is absolutely packed. National radio here doing reports, national newspaper journalists sat all around the press room earlier on, which was full to capacity. It's Huddersfield 0, Wolves 2 now. Connor Cody has put through his own net there. 6 minutes gone in the second half here. Second half hasn't caught light yet as Bournemouth win a throw-in inside their own half. They do have a 2-1 advantage over Derby. No goals involving Pompey or Eastleigh as yet.
Well, all a bit scrappy at the moment. Throw-in, free kick, throw-in.
Kermigan with one of those lovely cushion layoffs, and Pugh tries to play it over the top for Wilson. It's just too strong from Mark Pugh, but good idea.
Well, he only took a yard or 2 out there. That was an excellent pass, but just a little bit too much on it.
Derby masters of their own downfall there as Lee Grant's throw out put Keogh under pressure, and Keogh stretching, couldn't keep his clearance in play, and Bournemouth have suddenly got a throw in inside the Derby half, far side the left. Full house at Dean Court, 11,500 or so, the full travelling contingent of 1,400 from Derby to our left, who haven't been quite as loud as we've known them in the past.
Which is a good thing from our point of view, because it means they're not doing as well as they did last time.
Interestingly, by the way, our colleagues from BBC Radio Derby said at half-time that Jake Buxton's mum and dad, who committed the error for the second goal, are sat just to our left as Wilson is flagged offside on the far side. So that might have been pretty watching for Mr. and Mrs. Buxton. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are to our left, but either way, they won't have wanted their son hand the ball on a plate to someone of Callum Wilson's potency.
Well, mums and dads, they take the gamble, don't they? They're going to watch their sons. It happens. It happened to me once.
Lee Grant with the free kick from the offside over on the far side to the aforementioned Jake Buxton, who strides forward up towards halfway. The former Burton and Mansfield man has spent his whole career in the East Midlands as Jake Buxton. He's a bit of a warrior to look at as Wilson over this near side forces Keogh to head it out of play. It's a Bournemouth throw in on this near right touchline, level nearly with the Derby penalty.
He looks like a Highlander to me.
That's a good you're quite
just
right.
See him with all the kilt on and the spear and all that.
A spear, yeah, he might need a spear to catch Callum Wilson at times.
Big lad.
Evening. Francis has it halfway inside the Derby half of the field, thrown in. There's another tussle between Wilson and Buxton, which this time Buxton heads it out sideways. Cherries throw it level with the edge of the Derby penalty area here on BBC Radio Solent, live at the Goldsands Stadium. First night of 2 of live football with Saints West Ham tomorrow. Francis now trying to make a little run towards the back post. He lofts it over everybody, and unfortunately for him, beyond the goal line and out for a Derby goal kick.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lack of ball boys this evening, isn't there?
Yeah, there are ball boys around, but they're not exactly racing off their stools to get the ball when Derby need it back, that's for sure.
Right, I'll watch out for that.
Not to say there's any foul play, but maybe when the ball's on the pitch, they're not allowed to get hold of it, are they? They have to leave it to the players. Good jump on the far side by Andrew Sermon, who wins the header. Harry Arter's had a quietish game, isn't he, in the midfield so far? He's not been the all-action, all-conquering midfielder we've seen.
Well, that's what I mean about him trying to look after Hughes.
Yeah, 9 minutes gone in the second half. John Williams alongside us here on Solent as the ball is hammered across the field by Tom Ince. Forsyth nods it straight to Francis on halfway. Now Ritchie's first touch drew a challenge from Hendrick, and then Sermon dives in. That might get him a yellow card for the foul on Hendrick. Mark Clattenburg is on a non-yellow card policy this evening.
Well, I don't know what he books anyone for now. You have to cut somebody in half to get in the book, I think.
I think he just held a finger up to Andrew Sermon to say, that's your last chance. Out to the near side, Jamie Ward, fortuitous break away from Ritchie. Looked like he might have handled it. We'll come back to a goal at Ipswich, I think, just going in. 1-1 there. Ipswich have levelled through Daryl Murphy, who's having a fine season. 1-1. And Birmingham 0, Millwall 1. Alan Dunn. I heard Darren Anderton on a satellite channel this morning confidently predict that Millwall would get nothing at Birmingham. They lead 1-0. 10 minutes gone in the second half. BBC Radio Solent. Cherries 2, Derby 1. As it has been since Callum Wilson, right at the end of the first half, restored the Cherries lead, and Tommy Elphick, the Bournemouth captain, picks up a stray Derby forward pass, and under pressure from Ward manages to nick it away to Francis on this near right hand side. Callum Wilson's up top pointing, but Francis chooses the percentage option, goes back to Elphick and Arter, who exchange passes, and then Elphick under pressure from Will Hughes panics slightly and puts it straight out for a Derby throw.
Yeah, the one he was looking for Jan in the centre of the pitch, he just got blocked off on, so I had to try something a bit different.
Well, the bookies couldn't split Bournemouth and Derby in terms of title odds before the start of play this evening. Both 2-1, 9-4 are both the pair approximately, defending across the board, with Middlesbrough a very similar price as well. So the bookies think it's a 3-horse title race as Wilson chases it down towards the corner flag, can't catch it. Derby goal kick to our right. So it's Derby, Bournemouth or Middlesbrough to win the title as far as the bookies are concerned. Those three have opened up a 4-point gap, of course, to Brentford in 4th. Ipswich were 5th at the start of play, 6 points behind the Cherries. Watford, who the Cherries have played twice, 7 points behind Bournemouth at the start of play this evening. Those are the top 6. Brentford away to come in 10, 11 days time, a week on Saturday. Cherries make the trip to West London. A curious situation today, with reports emerging that Mark Warburton, their manager, might be sacked regardless of him getting them in the Premier League, but Brentford have moved to sort of dilute those reports. It's been a funny old couple of days for managers, isn't it? Nigel Pearson and now Mark Warburton, sacked, not sacked, either way. Eddie Howe, no such worries here. Derby free kick on halfway as Arter's penalised for a push on Mascarell.
Well, yeah, while down on the floor. Yeah, it was Nigel Pearson was a funny one. Did you see that?
He got a bit angry yesterday, Nigel Pearson, at the press conference.
I think he just held on to the lad a little bit too long.
Oh, there's that, and there's the getting sacked and not sacked. So it's been a 2-for-1 for Nigel Pearson. 12 minutes gone in this second half. BBC Radio Solent, Bournemouth 2, Derby 1, and it's Jake Buxton for Derby, who all in white are heading from right to left, past their travelling supporters, just to our left, as Buxton's low cross is miscued by Elphick, and behind for a Derby corner away to our left-hand side.
It was a nasty little ball that Buxton played in. It went past two, they didn't fancy it. I think it was Tommy Elphick who got it away.
Yeah, the last couple of clearances from Tommy Elphick haven't been the most convincing, and Bournemouth now, who were caused 1 or 2 issues by Derby's set-piece delivery, will now wait for Mascarell to swing this one in. Boric was nearly looking the other way, but in the end managed to just grab it into his midriff. Wants an option, hasn't got one at the moment, has to wait.
Nearly there. We had the 2 wingers out and the 3 in midfield. The arrows were on their way there, Chris, but couldn't get the ball out to them.
Probably just a few too many white shirts in the way,
I think
right there.
So.
The risk element was difficult. Brentford have taken the lead against Watford. Andre Gray has scored at Griffin Park, so that one is 4th against 6th, and Brentford lead it. 13 minutes gone here, still 2-1 Cherries as Arter plays it forward over the halfway line for Bournemouth. Pugh tried to do a full 360 turn away from Christie, who battled back and nicked it away, but then has to go back to his goalkeeper Lee Grant, who was Eddie Howe's first choice at Burnley, of course. Lee Grant before his move to Derby. Super leap by Sermon in the centre circle to win the header, but it runs again for Buxton, and he goes back to Lee Grant without looking, which was slightly risky.
Well, I don't think he's seen Callum there, you know. He was lurking, Callum just get on the end of something short.
Kermigan, who's yet to get involved, particularly in this second half, with a nice layoff to Simon Francis. Up to Wilson again, who's battling with Buxton. Lays it off to Arter for Bournemouth, just over halfway. Leading Hughes a merry dance, but now back to Tommy Elphick once more inside the Cherries half of the field, down in front of us. Cherries have been top for almost 2 months. As we said, having knocked Derby off the top of the table. Bournemouth have been top for 12 games this season. Derby have only been top for 6. The Cherries at the moment enjoying life at the summits. Can they stay there? They will if things stay as they are at the moment, as they have a 2-1 advantage. Tom Ince having pegged back the early Matt Ritchie goal, only for Callum Wilson to put the Cherries back in front. And I'm talking a lot because Bournemouth are just happily rolling it around inside their own half to each other, Willow. And Francis wins a throw-in off Jamie Ward.
Well, there's a little spell of keep ball. We didn't exactly move too far, but just a sign that the lads have the confidence at least to do that.
Well, Derby have lost away from home 4 times this season. They've been beaten at Charlton, Brentford, at Leeds and at Middlesbrough this season. As Ritchie runs into Will Hughes, Mark Clattenburg waves for Ritchie to get up as we approach the hour, and Derby now trying to execute some space and exploit some space, and Christie's on the overlap. Pugh trying to get with him, and Mark Pugh did well. He intercepted Christie's pass round the corner, and then it goes behind, and a goal kick is the decision despite Cyrus Christie's protests on the far side.
Well, Mark Pugh again, he's done brilliant. He's flicked it onto Christie, it's bounced and it hit Mark Pugh, but he was off the pitch, so goal kick.
The ball is with Arter Boric then in the goal away to our left. The crowd announced that just over 11, I think it was 11,400 odd. We haven't got the official figure passed around to us on a little slip of paper in the press box like we normally do, as that one's hammered by Forsyth into the roof of the east stand in which we're sat, and it's a Bournemouth throw-in down away to our right. Cherries don't draw many games, by the way. They haven't drawn since that little run of 3 in a row back in November. Middlesbrough, Ipswich and Millwall. So Cherries don't draw too many games. Derby don't draw too many either. Lots of people had this down for a scoring score draw, if you see what I mean. A few goals in it tonight, as the Cherries put the ball out of play on the far side, and it's a Derby throw-in just short of the halfway line.
Well, that was a nice little work switch, but just the final one, we couldn't pick it off. Now, here come Derby.
No sign of any further substitutions just at the moment for either team. Cherries bench, remember, Camp, Smith, Ward, McDonald, Fraser, Pittman and Stanislas, who's on the bench instead of Ranty today, as the Cherries play it down the right. Buxton clears ahead of Wilson, but again, all Buxton can do is put it straight out of play for a Bournemouth throw-in.
Yes, he's had a busy night, Buxton. By and large, he's done okay, more so in the second half, but I think he knows he's been in the game already.
Well, Buxton didn't play in the return fixture in September. He missed that one through injury, as Arsenal are pegged back to 2-1 now, home to Leicester through Kramaric, as the ball is with Derby in the centre circle here, and Hendrick, who plays the ball behind, looking for Tom Ince. It's been missed by Daniels, and Daniels has done expertly well to win it back, but Ince has got another chance. What a block by Elphick in there. Cherries with bodies back there. Still Derby dangerous on the edge of the box. Hendrick then turns into trouble, and Sermon, well, brilliant stuff from him, dribbling past 2 on the edge of his own box.
Well, great defended there. Callum's got the ball, has he got?
It's gone out of play. Cherries throw in, 15 yards from the corner flag.
Just great defended that end there. I think Daniels it was first, but Sermon, it was who coolly dribbled it out of trouble.
Tommy Elphick as well got a crucial block on Tom Ince's shot, as Daniels first missed it and then managed to retrieve it, and Elphick got his body in the way. Cherries throw in then, far side the left, over by the corner flag. 2-1 Bournemouth lead. Dean Court atmosphere coming back. 17.5 minutes gone in this second period on BBC Radio Solent. Lovely turn from Arter. Arter 25 yards from goal. Sees Francis now approaching up the right touchline. Francis holds it up. Tries to play a 1-2 with Ritchie. In towards the edge of the box. Trying to get the rotations going on the edge of the penalty area. They come back out to Arter, who goes forward to Pugh. It's intricate, but it's going nowhere at the moment. Arter has the ball back from Kermigan this time. And then Ritchie, Arter trying to tee it up for Francis, who points where he wanted it. Francis with the first time cross. Kermigan can't quite get on the end of it. It was a searching cross from Francis. Now Sermon finds Pugh edge of the penalty area. Too many white shirts there, so Pugh goes left. Daniels crosses, headed away by Keogh for Derby. Out towards the right side of the box, where Christie then gets it all wrong. In fact, it's Tom Ince who gets it wrong, and out for a Cherries throw.
Well, great pressure, probing pressure, passing the ball round. Substitution coming up.
Well, Derby are going to bring off Jamie Ward here, who has been largely ineffective, and they're going to bring on Simon Dawkins in his place, who I know you've been impressed with before, Willow.
Yeah.
In a couple of fleeting appearances, the former Tottenham man.
Well, let's hope he's kept quiet today, because he's got some ability and a little bit of pace, this fella.
Yeah, well, Jamie Ward scored the winner here in a 1-0 Derby win last season, but he's not going to be doing the same today. Chris Martin has scored the winner in the other couple of games. He's not going to be doing that because he's off the field as well. But Derby have plenty of talent still on it as Bournemouth restart with a throw-in. Over on the left-hand side now. Daniel's trying to find some wriggle room to get across him, but he's got Christie for company, who clears. Francis, though, picks it up. Oh, he just ran away from it. It looked like he was setting himself for a shot, but it ran away from him.
I think he was chest and volley, Chris, but he just got too much peck on it.
There's some powerful pecks in this Cherries team, aren't there?
There certainly is.
They can do their bench presses all right, but like Adam Blackmore. Arsenal 2, Leicester 1, just a reminder of that goal from Leicester. Huddersfield 0, Wolves 3, so Huddersfield are going to come here a wounded terrier through Benica Fobe on Saturday. Huddersfield, the next visitors to Dean Court. Spend your Valentine's Day with us. Bournemouth against Huddersfield. What a dream. 20 minutes gone in the second half here. Pugh for Bournemouth, who lead Derby by 2-1. Still Dagenham 0, Portsmouth 0, and Southport 0, Eastleigh 0. As the ball's fed over to the left-hand side, Huddersfield have pulled one back. They trail 3-1 now. Callum Wilson, left side of the area, drives it low to the near post. Seemed to get a touch of a Derby player. Wilson thought so. Mark Clattenburg, the referee, didn't. Derby goal kick.
Yeah, didn't happen for Callum that time, and out for the goal kick, but we're forcing them. As you can hear, it's our fans in the background. We're the ones who's forcing the play at the moment.
Well, Cherries are trying to right the wrong of the fact they've lost all 3 championship meetings with Derby since their promotion back to the second tier. The Cherries hadn't scored a goal against the Rams until tonight, as Pugh intercepts the ball forward from Mascarell on the halfway line. We're into the last 25. Cherries have a 2-1 lead to hold on to. Derby, though, still with a threat on the counter, though. Tom Ince has given it away. And now it's up to Kermagant on halfway, who's surrounded immediately by 3 white shirts. Managed to find Sermon. His ball forward bounces off Ince, and then Daniel shows some calmness to sidestep Ince. So now it's Pugh over on the left-hand side, looking for options, and Pugh tries to play it into Ritchie, and it's headed away by Forsyth. It was just too high for Ritchie.
Well, we'll see here, Chris, but I think Derby are just taking 1 or 2 risks at the moment. Could be leaving the back door open.
The Scotsman Craig Forsyth down this left-hand side. Once more to Jeff Hendrick, who scored twice on Saturday for Derby in their 4-1 win over Bolton. Now Dawkins involved for the first time. Darren Bent, 2-2. He made the first, Darren Bent, a control and a finish for 2-2. And Derby back on terms for a second time.
Well, just when we were beginning to get the taste for it, I think. It's gone against us. It's a nice play by the substitution to come on and get down low in that area of the pitch, but it was an excellent first touch and a fantastic finish by Bent.
Well, the 2 substitutes combining, it was Simon Dawkins' first involvement. Low cross to the near post, Darren Bent got free, first touch to control, second touch, top left corner, no chance for Borich.
Well, that's a shame, because I just happened to feel that it was starting to go our way and we were opening them up at will. They were going to have to come out and try something. Well, that changes it all again.
I've got to say, the BBC Radio Derby commentators in front of us are extremely excitable this evening. Craig Ramage, their former defenders, almost out of his seat, punching the air in front of us.
They're playing the mighty Bournemouth.
We've got a quarter of the game to go here at Dean Court. It is 2-2 between the Cherries and Derby. And Darren Bent, well, if it was a good omen or not, we thought at the time the 19 goals of Chris Martin going off the field injured. I think on the way his performance has gone, you'd have preferred Darren Bent to stay on the bench with his tracksuit on.
Well, I mean, you know, England international, what can you say? He's going to be not bad.
No, he'll be okay, that's for sure. And Cherries have found that so. Now they've got to do some defending in Bournemouth. If you can't win it, don't lose it, as they say against your rivals, because a 3-point swing is a big swing. Particularly with Derby having taken 3 points off Bournemouth earlier in the season. They're trying to level that score. They've got 20 minutes here to try and get themselves back in front. Ball's over on the left-hand side. Cherries take a throw. Ritchie heads it up towards the halfway line as the ball goes out of play. Off a Derby player. Keogh wanted a free kick. The challenge by Wilson. Is there still a bit of magic in the Callum Wilson sack?
Well, I think there definitely is. I think he'll get a chance as well, but there's plenty of time left for the game to switch in a couple of ways, really.
Well, no sign of any changes as yet from Eddie Howe, as a free kick is given against Sermon. I think for handball, Sermon's kicked the ball away. He's on a last warning. Needs to be slightly careful.
He's had a real good game, Andrew Sermon. He's picked some important passes off and not only tracked back but started play off as well.
You need cool heads in games like this, don't you? And Sermon is exactly that. Free kick for Derby, hammered diagonally by Mascarell out towards the left-hand side. Francis and Forsyth go up together, left side of the penalty area. Runs out for Derby to the touchline, and Hendrick, who plays it back to Dawkins. Now Forsyth to try and cross on the left-hand side. Ritchie spread his body and got himself in the way. Derby throw. Their fans certainly have renewed belief to our left, Willow.
Well, I think it's Dawkins that's done it, and there he is on the ball again. Certainly livened them up from the little push there.
Francis's push on Will Hughes has been spotted by the referee. Charlton 1, Norwich 2. Tony Watts has equalised. Liverpool 2, Tottenham 1 in the Premier League. Stephen Gerrard from the penalty spot. That one was an 8 o'clock kick-off, by the way, at Anfield. 20 minutes left here, less than that, 19 minutes left. Keep looking at my watch, that's a minute and a half behind rather than the scoreboard stadium clock. And it's Ipswich 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1 now. Luke Chambers has pulled that one back as Mascarell with a free kick for Derby towards the back post, won by a Derby player. It's Buxton in there, who wins it for a second time, and then it's Sermon again who will volley it away up to the halfway line. Well,
another deep one into our 18-yard box.
Bombed forward by Cyrus Christie, won by Francis, lofted back in by Buxton, and Artur Boruc will shout loudly and take charge of the situation. Bowls it out, long range out to the left-hand side where Mark Pugh can't control it, just inside the Derby half of the field, and it's out for a Derby throw just short of that halfway line. 2-2 at the Goldsound Stadium on BBC Radio Solent.
Well, things are hotting up at the moment. It's got all tight again. I thought we were having a good little spell, but Derby have got it back to 2-2. Now it's tightened up again.
Yeah, and now it's Hendrick through the middle, and he stands on the ball when well placed, which was handy, and then somehow manages to get back to his feet and win it away from Ritchie. Dawkins again for Derby. Ritchie gets a foot in, but it only goes to Forsyth. He tried to thread it through Francis's legs to Dawkins, but it's a Derby throw, level with the edge of the Bournemouth penalty area.
He's had a good game, Forsyth.
Yeah, it's a good game. Dawkins back to the left-hand side as Derby try and play their cards right down the middle. Comes back to Matt Ritchie down the right-hand side, cleared up towards halfway where Wilson's got a bit of space, lost his balance, he tried to control it, and Buxton easily manages to shrug him off. And now a nice ball from Dawkins once more to Hendrick. Hendrick 30 yards from goal. He's got Dawkins to his left. Dawkins now trying to run into the penalty area. Back to Hendrick again. Square to the edge of the box in Ince. Derby keeping possession around the Bournemouth penalty area. Forsyth then ran into Francis. Francis goes in with a second challenge. Loose ball picked up for Derby by Mascarell. Tried to thread it through to Bent. Important bounce and cleared by Cook, who got a good man-on shout from the crowd.
Yes, he did, and he needed it because he was being closed down rather quickly.
We have 17 minutes to play here at the Goldsound Stadium on BBC Radio Solent. 2-2 between the Cherries and Derby as Elphick diverts the ball away from Dawkins, but here's Darren Bent running onto it again. Bent into the penalty area, ran into too many red shirts. Cleared by Daniels, another Derby throw in a promising position.
Well, we've got some defending to do here. Derby, it seems, are just having a little spell themselves.
Tom Ince now scored the first. He's coming across the top of the Bournemouth penalty area. Certainly the Rams enjoying a good spell since Darren Bent pulled them back level at 2-2. Will Hughes now 25 yards from goal, but Derby at walking pace at the moment, and then a bit of space for Ince all of a sudden. Wants it onto his left foot, no room to get a shot away. Comes out to the left once more. Forsyth has stayed forward. They haven't closed down Will Hughes. Little 1-2 in the area. Hughes goes into the box. Francis needs to be careful with the challenge. Hughes still going. He loses his balance. Mark Clattenburg was 5 yards away and says goal kick as Hughes stumbled to the ground.
Well, I've no doubt in my mind he was looking for something, but he never got a snip from Francis there. Done well, stayed on his feet.
Brentford 1, Watford 1. Igalo, who scored the last-minute winner for Watford at the weekend, is levelled for the Hornets across London. Well, they're not quite London, are they, Watford? They're a bit north of London, but either way, a relatively short trip for them on a Tuesday night. Not like QPR, who are winning still 2-0 at Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. They haven't got a point all season, QPR, on the road, as Elphick does well ahead of Darren Bent, but it's going to be another Derby throw over on the right-hand side. And Eddie Howe, I think, now is looking to his substitutes bench to tweak something here, Willow.
Yes, just having a look. I think it's Pittman over there. Smithy as well, I can see.
Yeah, exactly 15 minutes of the 90 to play at the top of the championship, first against second, as Tom Ince tries to take on Daniels, but this time it's a Bournemouth throw. They just need a couple of minutes breather here at the back, don't they?
Well, you know, the substitutions have changed the game round for Derby, and perhaps that's something we could look at.
Hull lead Aston Villa by 2-0 as Adam Blackmore shakes his head away to my left-hand side. Derby have possession once more, all in white, attacking the Ted McDougall end of the ground here from right to left. A long ball over to the far side finds the gallivanting fullback Cyrus Christie once more, who comes back to Hughes, right corner of the penalty area. A little ball into the box, looking for the run of Ince. There's Sermon. Hughes with a shot in the end, but Boric allows that to go past the near post through a crowd of players.
Now, here we go, and as far as I can see, I think it's Pittman and Smith coming on.
Well, you've got some very good eyes, Willow. It's definitely Adam Smith coming on. And if it is Pittman, then Willow's vision must be 2020. I think it's Sean McDonald possibly on the far side. We'll wait and see. Blackburn 1, Rotherham 1. An equaliser for Matt Derbyshire against his old club there for Rotherham. And Charlton 2, Norwich 2. So a couple of quick goals going in that game. Better Kelly has equalised. So it's going to be Adam Smith for Mark Pugh. That's the first change for the Cherries here with 14 minutes to play. And Sean McDonald is coming on for Jan Kermigan.
Right. Well, that would suggest things are stiffening up a little.
Well, McDonald's going to play that advanced role, isn't he, to run and support Callum Wilson, but he's not Jan Kermigan. Latest goal to go in the conference. Deadlock broken. 5-hour trip for Ian Wilding up to Southport, and Eastleigh are losing 1-0.
Matt's gone over onto the other side. I wondered where he'd gone.
So Ritchie onto the left, Smith onto the right of midfield, and McDonald now in a sort of attacking midfield role to try and support Wilson, who immediately looks isolated as the ball comes forward. Is this a bit of a defensive move by Eddie Howe with 13 minutes to go? We shall wait to see it. Maybe a tactical masterstroke as they try and shore up the midfield, as Wilson picks it up on the left-hand side, but has got absolutely nothing on whatsoever. 4 white shirts around him. Wilson still has possession over on the left-hand side, but he tries to run it round the long route. Derby goal kick.
Yeah, scenic route there. Was never going to get it. Well, we know Smithy can get out defences, but he's going to have some defending to do here just for the moment.
Ball's on halfway now with Simon Dawkins, so I wonder if Matt Ritchie's maybe extra energy in getting up and down, or maybe extra speed is something in Eddie Howe's thinking in having him tracking back rather than Mark Pugh. Who knows what the thinking of the manager is, but we'll find out later. 12 minutes left, 2-2. Honours even, these two, as we say, separated only by goal difference at the start of play. Their records are exactly the same in terms of the games won, drawn and lost, as well as the points. 17, 6 and 6 in the wins, draws, losses column for both of these teams before play. Derby in an attacking position. Cyrus Christie with some Strictly Come Dancing footwork, then crosses it. It goes behind off Daniels for a throw-in on the far touchline.
Nice block by Charlie there. Had a bit of work to do. Ball's gone out the ground. I think we're going to need another one.
So the ball eventually comes back from the corner of the ground over on the far side. 11.5 minutes to play on BBC Radio Solent. Lots of time to discuss your texts and tweets as we get reaction from all of our games tonight on the air till 10:30 or thereabouts. At Solent Sport on Twitter to get through those communication channels, or text 81333. Start your message with Solent. Crossing from the Derby far side, and everybody stood and watched it. And at the back post, Darren Bent thankfully stood and watched it, and it went out for a goal kick.
Well, I'm surprised Boric watched it the way he did.
So
you know, perhaps a token dive or
an arm out to suggest you had it under control.
Yeah, or even shut wide.
Throw your cap down, anything. Either way, he just stood there, stuck on the spot. The ball's back with Lee Grant in the Derby goal. Liverpool 2, Spurs 2. Dembele has equalised for Maurizio Pochettino's side at Anfield. Heading towards the last 10 here on BBC Radio Solent. Bournemouth 2, Derby County 2, as Elphick and Darren Bent having a wrestling match, which referee Clattenburg saw as 50-50, and now Ritchie turns back inside his own half and finds Daniels, and all of a sudden it's the Cherries back line who don't necessarily want the ball. Cook in a hurry managed to win a throw-in off Bent.
Yeah, nicely closed down by Derby there. Very difficult when there's two strikers around you trying to pick a pass as a centre half.
So Cherries now defending as the ball's broken for Darren Bent again inside the Cherries half of the field. He's got support from Dawkins. Wasn't a great ball, but then Simon Francis presents it to Dawkins, who thankfully for the Cherries lashes the shot wide. I thought Francis was about to start a counter-attack. Instead, he presented it to Dawkins.
He just wanted that little touch in front for Smithy, but instead went the other way. Unfortunately, he slashed it with the outside of his left foot wide.
Reading 0, Leeds 1. Luke Murphy, who scored against the Cherries at Ellen Road back in the snow Tuesday night a few weeks ago, has scored in that 8 o'clock kick-off at the Medeski Stadium for Reading, who play at Derby in the FA Cup on Saturday. Just a reminder of that goal just coming through our ear from Luke Murphy. Buxton wins the header from Wilson inside the Cherries half. Now McDonald on the right-hand side. First interaction since he came on, to his fellow sub Adam Smith going across the field. Has his heels clipped by Forsyth. Bournemouth free kick. Dead centre, halfway inside the Derby half.
It's too far up for a shot, Chris. You need to invent something here.
Yep, even Jan Kermigan I don't think would have a shot from here, or Brett Pittman, two of those who fancy themselves from range. It's fully 40 yards out from the Derby goal with 9 minutes on the watch. 2-2, Ritchie for the Cherries on 12, Ince with the equaliser on 30, Wilson in the 45th with a fine strike, the equaliser on 67 from Darren Bent, back to 2-2, on as an early substitute for the injured Chris Martin. They are going to knock this sideways for Matt Ritchie, I think, to have a crack, which they are. Ritchie drills it, but it was always heading wide. For the moment it hit the outside of his left foot and kept going wider.
Never going to score from there, Chris.
Moonshot time, that, wasn't it?
It was never, you know, you try to put that much power into it, that's difficult to keep the accuracy, and in the end it just goes high into the crowd.
Well, it's never easy to compare season by season, because sometimes one team will dominate more than another, like Leicester won by miles last year. But last year, on February the 10th, we're low as we are today, Burnley had 56 points from 29 games and got promoted automatically. Cherries had 57 from 29 on the comparable day this year. But of course it's much tighter at the top than it was last year, when Leicester and Burnley were well clear of Derby, who were well clear of the team in fourth. So hard to compare directly, but Bournemouth are ahead of where Burnley were in getting automatically promoted last season. Now they're coming forward trying to find a winner here against Derby. Ritchie left-hand side, 2-2 the score, 7.5 minutes remaining. Ritchie's cross into the area, Adam Smith was trying to steal in, and Jake Buxton heads it behind, and Bournemouth have won only their second corner of the night, Willow.
I think he's just put himself into man of the match, especially for Derby. Buxton, he seems to be everywhere at the moment.
And that's even having given the second goal away. Eastleigh have equalised at Southport, 1-1. Joe Partington on loan from the Cherries. Simon Francis' corner to the near post, not a great one, headed away by Darren Bent. He's been popping up everywhere as well. He heads it up to Ince on the halfway line, who's stopped, but unfortunately it runs out of play before Francis can retrieve it, and it's going to be a throw into Derby halfway inside their own half. And from the speed at which Cyrus Christie isn't going to get the ball, it looks like Derby aren't going to be too disappointed with the 2-2.
No, I would imagine that you'll see a situation of running the old clock down.
Yeah. Well,
from Derby anyway.
Yeah, I don't mind them running the clock down when it's level, because the Cherries will still be throwing everything at it as Derby come forward. It's headed away, but only to Jeff Hendrick of Derby. He lays it off to Darren Bent, helps it around the corner, right side of the box. Ince is challenging with Daniels. Can Ince keep it in? No, he can't. Corner, says the assistant on the far side. Daniels looks across incredulously that the assistant has given that Derby's way.
I share his views. I can't believe he's given that the Lions, but I know I'm 220 yards away and he's 5, but it didn't look a corner to me. He's
got a FIFA badge on, the linesman, so it must be right.
And a flag.
Corner Derby, Tom Ince to take. We have about 6 minutes left to play. Ince to swing it in. There's all sorts of wrestling going on at the back post as Wilson is back inside his own box to head it away. Smith then wins the second ball. Wilson is clipped as he comes out. That has to be a yellow card, and eventually Mark Clattenburg finds the yellow card. I've got absolutely no idea who he's shown that to, because there are 6 Derby players in front when he held up the yellow card.
Is that the first one today? The first yellow?
First yellow, yeah.
Incredible.
Adam Blackmore's telling me Keogh, is he? or Forsyth, or Wilson, or Mascarell, or Buxton. Thank you, Adam. A Derby player has been booked. We'll only find out who if one of them gets the same person gets another booking, I think. But it doesn't really matter. Cherries have got a free kick which they take, and then Sermon's caught in possession inside the Derby half of the field, and now Darren Bent, and luckily for Sermon, Darren Bent couldn't use it, and Cook lashes it away inside the Derby half, and Keogh volleys it into the stand. Cherries throw.
Well, that's unlike Andrew to do that, but not the best place in the world to give the ball to play. I'm sure he knows that, but he has had a fine game this evening.
2-2 here at the Goldsound Stadium on BBC Radio Stolen. All the reaction. Eddie Howe once again will be joining us live here post-match to talk us through the evening. Players as well. You on the text and tweets. We're into the last 5 minutes with deadlock so far between the Championship's top two as Elphick tries to find a ball for Ritchie down the left-hand side. Ritchie holds a thumb up, but a token gesture as the ball bounces behind for a Derby goal kick.
I'd quite like Adam to get a ball and just to see if we can get him on it and have a little run with it down this right-hand side. He could open something up.
He always skims the surface, Adam Smith, doesn't he? He sort of like, he floats across the surface pretty quickly.
Yes,
he can
does.
cause problems. But he hasn't had a chance to run with the ball yet. He prefers playing right back rather than right midfield. I remember speaking to him about that. I've mentioned it before. He prefers running onto things rather than picking the ball up facing his own goal. As Blackpool concede late on to Middlesbrough. Jonathan Woodgate. Now that would mean that the Cherries would lose top spot this evening if these scores stay as they are, because Middlesbrough were only 1 point behind at the start of play this evening. So that goal late on from Jonathan Woodgate, if this stays 2-2, would mean that Cherries would be off the top for the first time in 2 months. The ball over on the far side though. They can win here and make sure they do stay top, and Arter's trying to ensure he does so. Arter to the edge of the area, square it goes. Smith back into the box. Arter, is there room for a shot? Blocked by Derby defenders. Grant can't prevent the corner. It's a corner to the Cherries on the far side. They just couldn't get the shot away.
Well, I think he had 4 or 5 chances where he could have took a pot shot, but he couldn't find the right one that he wanted. Sometimes happens like that.
Just couldn't quite get it out front of his feet, Harry Arter. Eastleigh have turned it round late. Jay Reason, he's Southport 1, Eastleigh 2 in the conference. Fought back to draw 3-3 late on Saturday. They might have got a late win up on in the northwest. Cherries corner here. Francis taking under the crossbar. Lee Grant though unchallenged. The Derby keeper is able to catch it.
Well, that's disappointing, very disappointing. You work on them things so hard and it's all about delivery.
3 minutes to play. BBC Radio Solent. Cherries 2, Derby 2. Cherries tumbling all the way down to second place in the table. As things stand, they would be 1 point behind Borough, as would Derby, of course. Brentford, of course, currently at level with Watford, so they would move up to 53 points in fourth place. Lots of ifs, buts and maybes. It's 30 games gone after tonight, so when the number of games played starts with a 3, you really are starting to get towards the crux end of the season, into the last third of the season. 2 minutes left here. Is there some late drama to be had here at the Goldsounds? It's Derby at the moment threatening to provide it with Forsyth. Poor low cross though, easily cleared by Tommy Elphick, out for a throw. Save all of that stuff about Bournemouth losing top spot. Blackpool 1, Middlesbrough 1. Ben Gibson, OG, has levelled it up at Blackpool. So it turns, the wheel turns again.
It does turn again, and that's brought a smile back to my face a bit better.
You won't be if Derby burgle a 3-2 win here.
I'm sure.
Cherries doing their best, their fans in the stand doing their best as Forsyth has it on this left-hand side. 1.5 minutes to play. Cherries defending at the moment. Francis under pressure and Bent wins a throw-in. I'm going to do what Dave Merrington always does, which is when we get to 90 minutes, I'm going to start my stopwatch for the added time, because I've given up now. My watch has been 1.5 minutes behind. I'm running off the stadium clock, but of course that will stop at 90 minutes. It doesn't show you how much added time, so to make sure I'm with it, I'm going to do a Dave Merrington and start my watch as he always does. The ball's with Francis, who's not exactly rushing the restart underneath us. Smith flicks it on, but it runs for Mascarell. Hughes does nicely. It's going to be a Cherries throw-in as players from both teams put their arms up to claim the throw-in. Referee Thatfield gives it to Bournemouth.
Both of them, I don't know which way that was.
No,
any ideas?
No idea. In terms of the top 6 this season, Derby, they lost at Middlesbrough and Brentford. They won at Ipswich and Watford. They might draw at Bournemouth as things stand at the moment. Blackburn 2, Rotherham 1. Jordan Rhodes has scored late on for Rovers. And now it's Derby on the halfway line once more. 30 seconds left of the 90 minutes, plus whatever Mark Clattenburg adds on here. 2-2 the score. Both teams would probably settle for 2-2 at the moment, but a moment of magic or a moment of madness.
I think there's another chance in us yet.
Well, we'll wait and see. Cherries down the left with Sean McDonald, who hasn't really had a chance to get involved. He wins a throw-in for Bournemouth. 10 yards over halfway. Derby are going to make a change in a moment. The fourth official, Dean Whitestone, has the board, and he's about to tell us how much time is going to be added on.
Get your clock ready.
I've got my clock ready. I can't miss it again. 3 minutes added on. My clock is running, which is good news. Cherries have a throw-in. Far side. 3 minutes added on. 2-2 the score. Cherries have got the ball. Far left touchline. Trying to work it down the left flank. Ritchie finds Wilson, who hasn't had many opportunities in this second half.
No.
Keogh closes the door once more.
No, I think that's down to Buxton, really.
Now Derby trying to break out. It's Hendrick through the centre circle. They just calm it down and go sideways to Forsyth. And again, a massive urgency from Derby to come forward. They play it forward up to Hendrick, who just holds off the attentions of Sermon. Hendrick's diagonal ball to the far side. Tom Ince with the ball at his feet. Dangerous character. Right corner of the area, onto his left foot, across the top of the box. A couple of challenges go by. Ince too high, thankfully. Matt Ritchie threw himself in the way, which just did enough to put Ince off. Get that wheel to oiled and turning again. Blackpool 1, Middlesbrough 2. So Middlesbrough back in front through Garcia late on. Charlton 2, Norwich 3. Cameron Jerome, who scored a winner here at Dean Court. 2-2, 2 minutes of added time to play. 2-2 the score. Reaction to come at the top of the table between Bournemouth and Derby. But is it Middlesbrough heading to the summit? Any one of the three could have been on the top of the pile this evening. It could be Middlesbrough up on the rails, who could leapfrog both the Cherries and Derby and take pole position in the Championship. Middlesbrough, of course, still have to come here to Dean Court this season. Wilson on the halfway line. Has it over on that far side, but Derby at the back now. Middlesbrough 59, Cherries 58, Derby 58 is how the live table stands with 90 seconds left of added time. Hendrick down the left side of the Bournemouth penalty area. He wins a throw-in off Tommy Elphick, 10 yards from the flag on this near side.
Well, last chance saloon here. I don't think they've got a long throw, Derby, but I'm sure they'll want to get it in the box as soon as they can.
The Cherries are going to make a change here, and it's going to be Brett Pittman for Matt Ritchie. Matt Ritchie's just been hobbling the last couple of minutes or so, which is not what Cherries fans will be keen to see. But Pittman's going to come on. Not bad in the air, Brett Pittman, so maybe useful in this set-piece situation.
Well, I think so. Surely, what's on your clock anyway?
40 seconds. So Pittman waits to come on the far side.
Yeah, Casey just seeing this through.
On comes Pittman.
Yeah, right into the mix, so Brett will go.
So Pittman jogs back inside his own box. Derby throw, level with the Bournemouth penalty area, near left touchline. Hendrick and Hughes play a 1-2. We're into the last 20 seconds of the added 3 minutes, and Cherries are on the back foot at the moment. Everybody except Wilson back defending. The ball runs to Hendrick, right side of the penalty area. Sermon's over there, low ball. Steve Cook clears. Cherries just need to get it away from there. Pittman goes long looking for Wilson. They can't get him in a foot race, unfortunately. Calm defending by Richard Keogh, the Derby captain. Forsyth on this near side. That's time on my watch, but Mark Clattenburg's is the one that matters, as Derby again switch it early out to the far side. Should be another 30 seconds with the substitution to take into account. Derby trying to fashion one more opportunity. No time, honours even in the end. Good footballing contest between two of the division's top footballing sides, but it may be that neither of these two sides will end the night top of the table. Bournemouth were there at 7:45. Middlesbrough, if they can hang on at Blackpool, will be there come 10 o'clock this evening. It's finished Bournemouth 2, Derby County 2. Applause of appreciation from both sets of players and supporters. Ritchie on 12, Ince 30, Wilson 45 and Bent 68 as the lead seesawed. Derby twice came from behind, and in the end, well, I think only the most ardent one-eyed Cherries fan would think that they've been hard done by tonight. I think the draw's fair.
I'm not so sure. I think I'm a bit disappointed in the fact that at the time we were 2-1 up, we were steaming, we were flying forward, it was all going our way, and they sort of done us on a sucker punch. From that point of view, it's a little bit disappointed. But listen, I called it this morning, I thought a draw was on all day long, and in all fairness to both teams, a lot of people have said that's probably the right case.
Well, Derby fans certainly bouncing away to our left with appreciation for their side. Cherries players, they certainly look a bit disconsolate as they move away to thank their own supporters to our right-hand side. It'll be the fact they got in front twice and couldn't hang on to that lead twice, which was a story of a portion of the season earlier on, which we hoped would long gone. But ultimately they didn't lose, so it's as you were in terms of these two sides. Bournemouth 2, Derby 2, as Adam joins us here.